discuss.
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad!
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Vitui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to. Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but... Right, let's hear...
Of course. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room. That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, it was never my wish to proceed under this, but like I said earlier, you can be the judge.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously Huh? Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what...
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. Countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the... Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, so Linney proceeded to knock him out too, but afterward, Linney passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before... And there you have it. That's the...
Does the defendant's side have any objection?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of... According to Linney, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. Linney went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. Linney did not take part.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has set when the countdown started. But he immediately used a vent to access the opera. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again. And in order, finally, he reached the surface. And that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent. Paimon did it! Paimon...
In other words, you believe that he...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire... Assuming that what you say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap...
Oh.
That's right, you tell him! Oh, well, your denial is very strident. I'll give you that. Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
To disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Could there have been a third person involved? Is that... Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or... the deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant.
That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to take... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. So, the sound we heard may have come from a clash between the Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. It would have been tough for both people to fit into... Linny was not in the tunnel at that... The sound we heard may have come... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny... No one entered or left the Opera House. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. one entered or left the opera house through its entrances. So, where would the criminal have wanted to take Halsey? Halsey's clothing was in... The deceased's name is Cowell. No one entered or left the It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. No one entered or left. Linny was not in the tunnel at... It would have been tough for both people. Halsey's clothing with... It would have been tough for both... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having...
I see.
Look, since we're at a dead end, just like the trick as it transpired, the end...
If only we knew how...
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3... And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents, but do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient?
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which gave our criminal ample time. The sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. The vase was not broken by chance.
Paimon gets it! It all comes together! Lynette escaped from the water tank, vanishing gradually and leap. If there's a similar...
How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is... Magic tricks are ultimately just a...
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reasoning may open if we try to gather... Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the case, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at his belongings, would it?
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine...
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress that we feel. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage. The notebook in his backpack claims that these... The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he The notebook has many entries concerning safe usage of these fluids, in which the keyword dissolve. One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese, along with yesterday's date. It is empty. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen. As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is...
You've got to be kidding! people dissolve.
But something so ridiculous actually.
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowl was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your part?
Let's go. Just trust me.
Order! Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has yielded some surprising results, but we cannot yet verify the veracity of these clues. Still, let us assume that these clues are indeed authentic, albeit with the understanding that Ms. Halsey has yet to be found. Guards, please continue examining the items along these lines. Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence, so please continue speaking.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor. If we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of this case's seemingly unrelated clues can be connected together.
Right! Like the metal hook! That one didn't make sense at all. Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water...
The deceased's name is Cowl. The water from the primordial... The water from the primordial... Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another... The rope that strung the water tank up was lit... Lynette was in the magic box. I remember there was something else with... Now it seems like the hook rope... I remember there was... The rope that strung the water tank up was lit by... Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant... Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire time. The rope that strung the water... The water from the primordial... Now it seems like the hook...
It's Ace Detective... In the original plan, Cowell would tamper with the water. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down and dissolve Halsey. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected in the tunnel and wound up being fatally hit by the same water tank he meant to use to cover his tracks.
Huh. That does make sense.
That actually links to...
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now.
Now, it seems like the only point of contention... His notes mentioned he had an accomplice...
On that note, the guards have just contacted me indicating that they uncovered new evidence. I shall now invite him on stage to share it with us.
Thank you, Your Honor. We were just inspecting the luggage of the other people involved in this case. And we found an identical sample of the water from the primordial sea.
What?
That can't be. Does this not, my dear citizens? Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, he did leave the scene via the vent, having made modifications to the props beforehand. His accomplice Cowell then caused Halsey to vanish using the water from the primordial sea. But upon his return, in cruel avarice, Linny desired sole credit and prepared to do away with his partner in crime. Ultimately, he knocked Cowell out, and the tool meant to cover the crime up also became a murder weapon. Now, as much as I regret having come to such a viciously straightforward conclusion, am I right, Mr. Linny?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. Is this the...
In the original plan, when the magic box containing Halsey would float when the balloon attached afterward, but...
Huh.
That actually...
Oh dear.
Now, it seems like his notes mentioned...
On that note, I shall now invite him...
Thank you, Your Honor. And we found it.
What?
That can't be.
Does this, my dears? Linny did not need, having made modification, but upon ultimately, he not now, as much as I regret. Am I right, Miss?
We've used up all the evidence. Is this the end?
Oh no. Seems using the water as new evidence.
I think we've all seen, and I believe this is indeed... Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
Excuse me, everyone, but I must interject.
Miss, I must ask you not to shout, and to respect the ongoing legal proceedings.
Oh, come on. Don't be hasty. I have a good reason for interrupting, you know. Now, would anyone here like to take a little break from all this debate and see a little magic? I'll show you an amazing trick. One that can bring a young woman who has disappeared back in the flesh, right before your very eyes. Please, do the honors, Mr. Linny. What in the world?
No offense, miss, but miracles...
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic, but once everyone believes the illusion. Can't magic reveal the truth to... And what is such a trick? Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it a but. As the magic makers and stars of the show.
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry for the interruption.
Wait, isn't that Halsey?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of... I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowell. I admit it. Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a...
It's Ace Detective Paimon's time to shine again! In the original plan, when the magic box containing Halsey would float when the balloon attached afterward, but...
Huh.
That actually...
Oh dear.
Now, it seems like his notes mentioned...
On that note, I shall now invite him...
Thank you, Your Honor. And we found an identical sample of the water.
What?
That can't be.
Does this not click, my dears? Linny did not need, having made modification, but upon his ultimately, he not now as much. Am I right?
We've used up all the evidence. Is this the...
Oh no. Seems using the...
I think we've... I believe this is indeed... Now Now then, my good...
Excuse me, everyone!
Miss, I must ask...
Oh, come on. Don't be... I'll show you an amazing... What in the world...
No offense, miss, but miracle...
Come on now, don't be silly. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth to... And wouldn't such a trick... Come on, Lenny and But as the magic makers and stars of the...
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry.
Wait.
To be clear, I was hiding outside. I was just feeling happy that...
That'll teach you to underestimate us three.
Where should I begin? I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowl. I admit it.
What? Why?
Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance to buy a ticket, so that's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. And I'd never been caught before. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away. Linny was the one who caught me in the act.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. So you were the thief. Liddy even mentioned that you were...
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but he even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can imagine how shocked I was. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. But then I got water poured on me for no reason, and then someone jumped into the tunnel to nab me. I wasn't going to take that lying down, so I knocked him out and stuffed him into the box. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding inside the opera house.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would... Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box. I may be a thief, but I'm no killer.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell... The strange sound wasn't from a fight. The flower vase was... See? Lillian was a...
And it's having been selected out of her panic only intensified. Hearing the commotion, Cowl leapt into the tunnel, only to discover he did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine. Mistakenly believing that the water from the primordial sea needed, the two broke the flower vase with no way of escaping. That she would have to go through guard inspection if she tried to leave afterward.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped two of them right under our noses. Talk about a sneaky thief.
At this point, all the events that
so that...
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Farina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What, are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further.
Wow.
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, I shall once again repeat the full sequence of events. The actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, selected his next victim from the audience reservation list. With some modifications to the selector, he could ensure that the pre-selected young woman would be chosen. To cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind after the young woman was dissolved. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop and hide the watermarks. He poured the water from the primordial sea into a balloon during the preparation of the magic box and stuck it to the box's lid. Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to said box. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. Thinking that the waters had not yet taken effect, he decided to proceed. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious, and placed into the magic box, and thus became his own final victim. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent. While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated separately, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared not guilty.
Great work. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial sea in Linny?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know!
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you. I'm sure you know what you must do to...
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself...
I was just following orders. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know.
Yes, our boss discovered that the water can cause people to dissolve. It can also be made into a potion, which when extremely diluted, can cause people to experience... We've been in this business for a while now, and have made...
And now he can no longer talk.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now, but still. let me thank you again for defending me to the end. I guess I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That's all. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached—
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the—
That's right. And since we're here, back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were to survive. I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner, and we began to my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal. Before long, an aristocrat came to me, and—
So you went from orphans to—
That was how we felt at first, too. But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic. He would constantly take me to all sorts of banquets to garner attention.
That doesn't seem too bad either.
After one particular performance at a banquet, I waited a long time after we returned home, but the answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless.
Oh no. But wouldn't Fontaine's—
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster care. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that so-called eminent person and hurried through the night. But by the time I leaped over the walls, avoided the guards, and made my— all I saw was the moonlit ground covered in—
So, she'd—
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several— Father, I mean, the Knave, might have seen— The House of the Hearth welcomes you. For your interest, I was hesitant to trust, but she was also quick to destroy—
Oh, so that's how the two of you joined the—
She has gained permission from the Sarita to first use the Gnosis'
So,
That's right. The whole house of today's case has also proven that people from— Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the Knave, has their roots in Font. To us orphans,
So, from small deeds like
It's alright. I understand. I just hope you can understand that if you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to find me.
Bye, Linny!
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us, Navia?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're the ones who can crack a case that's been cold for decades now? And given that there's new evidence from the trial, there's—
I see. Well, I won't lie. I'm a little shocked to hear that from you. But I suppose you are— Sorry. I might have been too presumptuous. With you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth, and the reflection in the murk to become clearer. Sorry about that. I'm a bit prone to— Wait, shall we have a farewell meal?
Huh? Do we really need to get that formal?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. That way there are no regrets. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take a—
You don't have to twist Paimon's arm. If Boss Navia's treating, count Paimon in!
Oh, wonderful. In that case, why don't we—
Alright then, let's have our farewell meal!
came here several times with my father when I was little, but stopped eating here as often after growing up.
Oh, don't worry. We haven't eaten at a hotel.
In that case, I'll go order for us first.
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's good, I'll...
And if it's not?
Well, then I'll still bring everyone. Albeit with only one dish per table.
Yeah. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a victory feast, right? Wait.
Oh, true. Very true. In that case, boss, we'll have another 2 dishes.
Huh? Paimon didn't mean that you had to order even more food. Speaking of cases, do you think that the mastermind behind the cereal...
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward, but...
If it hadn't happened right in front of...
Right? Yet it was because this was such a preposterous notion that the
If only that guy could have finished...
In such investigations, even the smallest step can seem like... To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities... It's not that I don't have faith in... It's easy to guard against and deceive a single narrow perspective. A shift in thinking is required at such times, which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are not all-knowing. That's why...
Seems
It's all right. Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak to her after the trial ended. It didn't really seem like the right time or place to do it anyway.
I see. So, I've heard that there's a long line of people waiting to meet Lady Farina. I suspect you'll be waiting for quite a while, considering that you missed your chance today.
Yeah, we've heard that she's super popular here in Fontaine, and that it'll be tough getting any of her time.
Well, would you consider some more, unique way?
Guess that's Spina di Rosula's boss for you.
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your... I'm sure Lady Farina would be eager to see the ending.
Could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard to pull off. We'd have to go learn how to act, and acting's really hard.
All right, here's another. Find a way to conceal yourselves under her bed. I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything.
That might work.
Valid point. All right, no more joking around. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refute? Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know.
Huh? Paimon.
Was this your turn?
No, it's fine.
Alright. Honestly, Paimon...
Is that so? If we're all finished eating, then I'll...
Yeah, we're stuffed. Thanks for the... Oh, so full. Paimon can barely float anymore. Nah, that would be so...
Okay.
Hey, Navia! What
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover.
Let's get ready to try to meet the high...
So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, in any case, I wish you smooth sailing. I'll see you again, partner.
See ya! people around.
The shit.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Are you hearing voices?
Vache?
Hey, why are you still walking toward... Huh? Hang on. Paimon can kinda hear a voice. Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you... No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Wait, my memories feel like they have been... How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on... Yes, that is what I was. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I also... No matter where I went, but now... We can... No! Our reunion... The thought of me gives him no suck. If you meet Vache, perhaps that is so. If only I could have comforted him. Told him... Is that what you call it? It was a tasty person who drinks water for the first time. I think I hear your companion. It's farewell then. I am glad that you were able to sense my presence. Remember...
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I
followed you. It seemed...
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually called stalking, is it not?
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust. He would do the same, were he alive today.
Do not speak of my father!
Sorry, Demoiselle.
Thank you for your...
Sorry,
Whatever.
I doubt I know much more than you. Your performance tonight will almost certainly...
I'm sure they've known about me. And what about these Gardamex? I thought only those associated with the Maison Gardiennage could control them.
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the... I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means.
What? Your point being that they're out of...
Yes. Be careful.
I will continue investigating. Regardless.
I do not think that they'll strike again.
Right. I suppose that's the best news.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Chlorand was...
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done for! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved us! Oh, and And there was that champion duelist named Florent who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off otherwise.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, as such, we're still...
It will take 50...
If it were me, I would have joined.
All right, you two. That's enough.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger?
Well, to be honest, you're...
Huh? Really?
Yes. All thanks to you. After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of... That the Fanta tasted kinda... Fanta. Only...
So the Fanta had been spiked with...
Yes. So...
Spina di Rosula is...
Huh. Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. But whoever... That's when I figured out that you might be...
What? Why would they...
Well, you... Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordial seawater?
Well, it can't be coincidence that the traveler fainted just... Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too! Does that mean the primordial...
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing.
New intel?
Well, let's see... Oh. Vache. Since he saw that yelp, but he never gave testimony, or... Yes, thank you. Oh, you mean...
Well, you did say that our farewell meal didn't really count. That means we're still partners, right? And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook.
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite...
You talk too much. Well, in that case, let's head back to one of our bases, shall we? I'll arrange accommodations for you. We also have some plans to go over, and hopefully we can deepen our bonds as partners. But we'll take that one step at a time, I guess.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
Exorcism uses thaumaturgy and martial arts to conquer evil. There are other means to the same end, but they are not the true way.
It's right up ahead, but let's make sure we weren't followed first.
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone suspicious thus far.
Very good. But let's not let our guard down for now.
I shall find rooms for our respected guests.
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, traveler.
right on.
So, this is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately. After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... He was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself. The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth. If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You...
Demoiselle, please.
I also will never believe that Master Callus murdered anyone. Master Callus did so much good in... Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that.
Wait! If Callus was such a good man...
No. Perhaps people just... People love watching the evil turn over.
But how could...
There is one...
Oh! Her? Yeah. That's not the...
Miss Clorand. She knew Master Callus before there was... Oh.
It's...
Don't worry, Navi.
Afterward, Miss Clorand told... Yes, that is our...
All right. Anyway, that's... thanks.
Yeah.
Please, relax and get some sleep.